Okay, it's been about a week since I got Kevin on the road, all certified and everything. Just been driving him back and forth to work and kind of feeling him out, see what's wrong with, little things wrong with him. I find his headlights need to be adjusted a little bit. They seem a little low. Not a big deal. I drove him to work, and I noticed the temperature runs a little higher than I think it should. It's hard to tell with this gauge. There's no numbers or anything. It runs about almost 3/4 of the way temperature-wise. I don't know what that is, so I may look into the thermostat, see if it's getting, if that'll help bring the temperature down. Minor stuff so far. Oh, and an exhaust leak. It started getting loud shortly after I got it certified, and it's the flex pipe that from the engine, the manifold to the rest of the exhaust was letting go. It was rusty, and the engine rocking back and forth finally broke it through, and it was getting loud. So I fixed that. Well, I took it to a shop to get a new one welded in, because I'm not that great of a welder, and I didn't want to do it on my back upside down. Something with a hoist, great. So I had that done, and then now the latest thing is I got a check engine light on, which I thought would be related to the exhaust leak. Maybe the oxygen sensor was not getting a good reading because of the exhaust leak. But it's still on. I thought, well, maybe I just need to reset it. Let me just fire it up here. But, well, now that I'm checking it, it looks like it's not on. Oh, no, there it is. So I got a check engine light, and so I got to figure out how to check the codes. It's not an OBD2, so it's not just a matter of plugging it in. I got to take a test light, plug it into the diagnostic port, and count the flashes. So I'm going to do that in a minute, but I'm now thinking it's not related to the oxygen sensor, but it's the transmission. Because if you look at the lights for, I got park. Reverse doesn't light up now. Neutral, drive doesn't light up. Second, oh, now low doesn't light up. They used to all light up. So when I drive it, I put it in drive, which isn't lit up. It'll go through the first 2 gears, no problem, and then it won't shift into the 3rd gear. It'll, I can do 60 kilometers an hour and go up to like 3,000-ish RPM, but it won't shift. If I put it into neutral as I'm rolling and then back into drive, it still doesn't light up, but it shifts into drive and I can drive it. But when I come to a stop, it clunks out of gear. So something's wrong with the transmission. I'm hoping it's electronic. It's a sensor or something, or a bad wire or something like that. Because if I have to, fix this transmission, I won't be able to replace it. I'm sure I won't be able to find another one, being an all-wheel drive transmission, and it's 30 years old. To rebuild, I'm going to guess I'm looking at like a couple of grand, which I really hope it's not coming to that, because I don't know if this car is worth that much, at least for me to put into it. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to run the codes and find out what this check engine light is, and hopefully it's going to say something simple like some module or something I need to check or replace or whatever, and go from there. Okay, to test the check engine light, you gotta find the diagnostic port, which I believe is this. Stick a test light into it and count the flashes. Well, the problem is my probe and the test light's too thick, so I'm gonna try and stick a wire in here to number 1. Hopefully that's it, and then test on this. Let me wrap it around here, maybe. What a pain in the butt. Okay. Hopefully I'm in there. Let's turn the key on and see what happens. There it is. Okay. Well, I'm not getting nothing, so maybe I'm not in the right port. I don't know. It sure looks like an OBD2 port. It's a 94, so it shouldn't be, but I might just try and plug my OBD code reader into it. Okay, I'm not sure what to do. It's a 94 vehicle, which is a OBD1 vehicle. It's got an OBD2 port, so maybe it's a gray area. Got my OBD2 code reader plugged into it, but I'm getting a lot of waiting for vehicle to respond. It goes through all those tests, and at the end it comes up as unable to link to vehicle. Probably because it's an OBD1, not an OBD2, but I don't know, it's one of those transition years maybe, but I just need to check my code. I want to know what my check engine light is for. It's something to do with transmission, but I need to know where, at least I think it is, where to look. So, yeah, linking error. Try again. So I don't know what to do. Okay, here's the update on Kermit. I did manage to get the codes read. Of course, I looked something up on the internet and wow, the internet wasn't right. I tried to get them with a test light, which I was told you could do, but that's not the way to do it. My OBD2 code reader didn't work because it's not an OBD2 car. Long story short, I had to put a wire in the #1 pin on the port, ground it out, turn the key on, then the engine light flashes. You count the flashes, figure out the engine code. So it came up, I thought it'd be transmission, no transmission codes came up. So it turns out the ones that came up were related to the exhaust and me having the intake box off when I got it started, like an air intake temperature thing and oxygen sensor. But since I fixed the exhaust and got the air box, all that's gone. I've cleared the codes, haven't come back on. Still having problems with the transmission though. I can't figure it out. I'm not a transmission guy, so right now I'm taking Kermit to the Mitsubishi dealer because really it's a rebadged Mitsubishi. It's an Eagle, but it's a Mitsubishi. I have a couple friends there. They're going to take a look at it. It's kind of old, so they can't just look it up on the computer for like the dealership when he goes back so far. But I'm hoping he can figure something out. Okay, Mitsubishi was a bust. He took a quick look at it, looked for anything obvious. He couldn't see anything. It's too old. They can't run codes, and you know, the codes I ran are the only ones they can do too. So he's looking for something obvious. He suggested taking it to Mr. Transmission. They can diagnose it. So I was going to do that. Realized I didn't have my wallet on me, so I'm heading home to get my wallet. And then all of a sudden, my drive light came on, and everything's shifting fine. So before my park, reverse, neutral, drive, low lights, only certain ones worked, and the drive one was one of them that didn't work. Well, now it came back on, and now everything's working. So I don't know what to do now. Now it's working, but my check engine light came back on. So I'm going to run that code now because I've cleared them before, so this is obviously a good one that's come up. Maybe it's related, maybe it's unrelated, I don't know, but the thing is it's shifting great now. So I'm wondering if it's just something with the fluids. The fluid looks a little dirty. I might change the fluid in the filter and something getting plugged up. Okay, I've run the code. The check engine light code is actually for an oxygen sensor. Nothing related to the transmission at all. Oxygen sensor easy enough to replace. I can do that. I'm not worried about that. Transmission seems to be working fine right now. I'm in drive, shifting all the gears. Still doesn't light up when I go into reverse and seems a little sluggish coming out of reverse. So I'm pretty sure now, I just got to change the fluid and the filter in the transmission. But I'm going to make sure and take it to a transmission shop and have them at least look at it. If that's all it is, I might even get them to do it. Just like they can flush it out properly and clean it, and hopefully that's all that is. Okay, Okay, I'm walking home. It's not because Kermit broke or anything. I just they're really busy at the transmission shop, and they want me to leave them for a couple hours and call me when it's done. So they're going to take it for test drive, check it out. I'm hoping, leaning towards it's a fluid flush, but we'll see. So I'll get to stew for a couple hours and hope it's good news. But I'm fairly confident now, so that's good. I can get back to doing stupid stuff to it. I'll let you know. Okay, so I've got Kermit back from Mr. Transmission. And typical when you go to a doctor or a mechanic, you know, it starts acting up until you get there. Transmission started working great just before I got to Mr. Transmission. So they took it out, took it for a test drive. They couldn't find anything wrong with it, of course. He's running good now. They agree with my assessment that maybe it's just dirty fluid. You know, fluid change would do it good. They're busy right now. They can't even get me in until sometime next week anyways. And they want $159, I think it was, to flush the fluid out, put fresh fluid in. Which is all, you know, it's a little pricey, but I could do that, you know. But they don't change the filter because they don't want to drop the gasket. They just literally suck it out and put fresh stuff in. I figure if it's that bad, I want to change the filter too, so I want to do it myself. So I'm going to drop the pan, change the filter, put a new filter in, new pan, put the fluid in, and hopefully that'll solve the problem. Because he's running great now, so I'm thinking it's just dirt, you know, old fluid. It sat for 3 years. We'll deal with that. I'm happy and I'm disappointed at the same time. It's like, that's doable and glad. I would preferred a more definitive answer going, yes, it's this. Not like, we couldn't find anything wrong, it's probably this. It's like, but it's shifting fine, so I guess I'm happy that I'm not looking at replacing the transmission or rebuilding it, or, you know, thousands of dollars. You know, I can spend $50 or whatever on tranny fluid and filter and gasket and that, and hope that works. And if it doesn't, well, I'm only out, like I said, probably $50 for the stuff. But it's working great now, so hopefully that's it. Anyways, what we're doing tonight, I have the filter and the transmission fluid, and I'm going to drop the pan, change the filter, put the pan back on, and top the fluid up. Now my daughter has suddenly shown interest in cars, which is surprising because she's 29, never had any interest, and all of a sudden she does. So I'm going to encourage that. She wants to help work on it. So we're heading over to her place because her garage is empty and my garage is full. And we're going to do it in her garage, and I'm going to make her do it. Alright, we finished. Yay, thank you. Fluid all in, filter all changed, all running. We should back out of here and all good to go. So that's one more thing off of Kermit's list to do. So on to the next thing, more stupid things to do now.